all you mothers out there. That's right. It's Pop Go the Writer's Time.
All you mothers.
That's all I got.
Okay. It's going to be one of those evenings.
It is. It is. You know, we're going to continue a conversation we were just having off air. I kind of want to hear the rest of it. But we were just talking about the fact that the new Doctor Who debuted this weekend. I have not had a chance to see it. Mm-hmm. I have seen the special that had Ncuti Gatwa in it and Ruby Sunday. So I was ready. Or Millie, what I'm not familiar.
Millie Gibson.
Millie Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it very much.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you were saying that you were doing a podcast where you're going through all the old Doctor Who.
Yeah. So
and it's funny, there are people who have seen all of the new ones and never watched any of the old ones.
Yeah, and I'm finding that out. And believe me, I can see that in a lot of the comments, online about the new stuff. You can tell that people have never watched, especially the people who say, oh, it's so woke now. And like Doctor Who was never like that. And it's like, actually, it's been like that almost the whole time. In certain things, it was kind of progressive. In the 60s. It's unfortunate because the very first guy to play the Doctor was known to have had some opinions about people of color. But that, that said, it's always had some political, minded stuff going on in it. Definitely some social commentary. Oh my God, like where I'm at right now in the John Pertwee era, there's a lot of that, going on in there. So yeah, you can tell people have, not really watched it. And then I don't know how many people are like me, where I've watched mostly classic Who and almost no, new Who.
I don't know how many people are like that. That's kind of unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's giving me a little bit of more background, to watch that. But what we decided is we have a Patreon page and Patreon for our podcast where we record special episodes that are just for, Patreon. And what we're doing is we decided to review all of the Ncuti Gatwa stuff and have those as special Patreon episodes. So we did all the specials, including the Christmas special, and now tomorrow we'll be recording actually 2 episodes, one for each of the episodes that was shown. Yeah. They showed 2 episodes.
What I've seen of the guy, he seems great. He's got that high energy that you want from the Doctor.
Yeah, very much so.
He's got that mystery about him.
Which is funny because, I've seen the criticisms like, oh no, he jumps around too much. He's got too much energy. He's too over the top. And it's like, have you ever seen like John Pertwee, even Patrick Troughton, to some extent. And although I haven't really seen any Tom Baker, I know that he's off the wall. It's like, where are you getting this, from at all? I think what the thing is that from what I understand, we just came off of an era where the Doctor was like, had PTSD, like Jodie Whittaker went through a lot of these big things and then changed into David Tennant, and he was there for a little bit. I think that this Doctor now, Ncuti, is so positive that's blowing. Like they've forgotten that like the Doctor could be a very positive, guy.
Yeah, there's definitely a melancholy that was brought in when Russell T Davies rebooted the show.
Mm-hmm.
Reboot's not the right term. Returned it with first Christopher Eccleston. It carried over into David Tennant. It calmed down a little bit with Matt Smith.
That's what I'm to understand, yeah.
But it started rearing back up a little bit with Peter Capaldi, but a lot with Jodie Whittaker.
Mm-hmm.
So,
mm-hmm.
I mean, we got the whole War Doctor thing.
Yeah, it's kind of dark, sure.
Yeah. So having this kind of more carefree doctor is, in a lot of ways, a harken back to Tom Baker's character, because John Pertwee, he had the one thing hanging over him, that he was stuck on Earth.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right where I'm at. But we're in season 9 right now, and he's still stuck. Although every once in a while, the Time Lords are sending him on a mission. They're allowing the TARDIS to work and send him on a mission. In fact, I'm in the exact middle of watching one called The Mutants, and that's what's going on. Is he's sent on a mission, but yeah, it's so funny. He's so active. He's constantly doing Venusian karate, and doing this thing where it's like a Spock pinch, where like he presses a nerve thing and people freeze, and he's sword fighting and jumping and using like jet skis. It's like Shooty's only a little bit more energetic than John Pertwee.
Yeah, and it changes all again with Tom Baker. He's much more cerebral and eccentric.
Yeah, that's right. Eccentric, right? Yeah, I mean, again, I just ignore that, and but it is interesting to come in, like, to skip over so many doctors and come in with the brand new one. But there's a couple of callbacks in these 2 new episodes. I won't ruin it, but there's one in particular that I nearly jumped up and shouted for joy. It's something that's been kind of swept under the carpet for quite a long while now, and it's not just a little mention, it's a big kind of mention of the thing, and I'm hoping they really expand upon it going forward, because it's something that's been ignored for too long.
Cool. So, all right, I'm gonna switch topics, because like I said, I haven't seen. I don't want to cross into spoiler territory.
Yeah, I don't want to do that, but I'll look forward to hearing your views on it.
I'm currently watching the Dead Boy Detectives.
I know some people who are watching that. Yeah, what station or what station?
That's a Netflix.
It's a Netflix thing. Okay, yeah.
It's grown on me. The first one, I was like, it's a little strange. It's definitely Neil Gaiman.
Mm-hmm.
With all the good and the bad that comes with Neil Gaiman. But I'm four episodes in, or halfway through, and I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely a spinoff of Sandman.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. Well, it is from the comics, too.
I wasn't that familiar with that name, so there were comics with that called that. Oh, okay.
Yep, it was characters he introduced in Sandman. They got their own series, I believe, or at least a mini series. And there is a cameo in the very first episode of somebody from the Sandman series, and you're like, "Oh, hey!"
Okay.
So, and they're mentioned throughout that person's mentioned throughout the series so far. I hear there's going to be more later on, so.
Okay.
I'm trying to finish it up by Thursday, because Kyle and I are going to do the show on Thursday about it.
Okay.
Kyle's a huge Sandman fan, and everything involved with Sandman. So
I had never gotten into a lot of the Vertigo stuff, from DC. But I kind of know. My wife used to read the one. I'm trying to think of what it was called. The Dreaming. That was one of the titles, right? She used to read that and enjoy it. That had like the library in it, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. How I got into it is there are audiobooks where they basically read the comics.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah, it's a full cast audio, and it's pretty good. So there's 3 parts to it. I've gotten through the first one. I haven't done the second one yet, but I need to. But yeah, and the TV series goes a little bit away from the comics, but enough that it sticks to it. Well, from what Kyle was telling me, the Dead Boy Detectives is even closer to the comics than the Sandman series was.
Okay.
So, another bit of interesting news that came out today is that there's been a lot of leaks with insider information, and you don't know how much to take them seriously or not.
Sure.
But some information has come out about the upcoming Captain America Brave New World movie that has at least angered Marvel enough that they filed they call it a DCMA. I don't remember what that stands for. But basically, they are reaching out to Instagram and asking for information on who is running the account. Can we get some toast? So they want the actual information of who's running the account because I guess something came out that wasn't supposed to. So
okay, so their thought is that they need to plug a hole, but not only that, but there may be some contractual breaking somewhere with somebody.
right.
Wow. Well, what I'd hate to ask what the rumor is, but
I've been trying to figure it out.
okay.
There's been some images released that show Falcon in the new suit or Captain America in the new suit, but those came from Empire Magazine. There's some pictures of toys coming out from McDonald's that give away a couple characters, like confirmed Red Hulk. Diamondback is one of the characters on the toys.
The female Diamondback? Okay.
The pink outfit and
wow.
Yeah, and so, but neither of those feel like it's an insider. There's also something about how he posted something about how Captain America would fight Red Hulk, how he could stand toe to toe, and talked about how that vibranium has some pretty amazing qualities. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
how accurate has that account been in the past?
Not great.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's probably why they're like, okay, you got something you're not supposed to have.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some people say that they're usually maybe 90 times right or wrong to 10 times right.
Yeah. It's been really quiet about that movie, though. I think, I mean, it's gotten pushed back. Yeah. So,
and you expect some leaks because of the pushbacks.
Mm-hmm.
They have contracts with McDonald's and other companies and stuff. So that stuff still has to come out on time.
Yeah. It's interesting how it's always the toys or a promo thing that kind of, trips them up and gets leaked. And I think that's because that's such far-ranging stuff. A lot of the toys made in China or whatever, and it seems like that's, somebody there at a factory sells a prototype or something like that. I mean, that's always where like information comes from. Toy packaging.
Yeah.
Too many people involved.
Actually, my dad used to make toy boxes. He was a pressman in the 70s and the 80s, and I knew about.
I remember this. You tell me.
Yeah, I knew about the Pulsar action figure before it was ever announced because he brought the box home.
That's wonderful.
Or I knew about.
It's too bad we didn't have Instagram back then.
Yeah, he made all the boxes for California coolers before they were even put out there. So it was like, I knew what wine coolers were before the general populace because there it was,
I could just see little Dan, like running around the whatever be the Instagram of that day, running around the neighborhood going, look, believe me, I have an insider.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's interesting that Marvel's actually going after this account.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how what they do next, and if they get the information, and then what they do with the information once they get it.
I mean, they don't really have any leverage with Instagram to get that information. Do they?
If they can claim it's a copyright violation, yes.
Oh, okay. Very interesting.
And it could be that whatever they posted has already been taken down because of the request.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, I'll be looking forward to hearing how that story plays out.
Yep. So, okay, let's get to one of our big stories. Probably the biggest story. Galactus.
That's pretty big.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I don't want to just talk about Galactus because I think we really have to look at the last 3 casting announcements for the Fantastic Four. There's Paul Walter Hauser, who is from, I don't remember the shows he's from. I'd have to look it up, but he got cast the week before we did our last show.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, he looks a lot like the Mole Man.
Mm-hmm.
Which I could understand if he showed up at my house and decked me for saying that. But yeah. Well, and then later in the week, we hear John Malkovich has been signed on. And I look at John Malkovich, and this isn't like, can we have some toast, My Time to Shine, Daniel RPK. This is Deadline making these announcements.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I look at John Malkovich, and 2 characters come to mind when I see him. Red Ghost, Puppet Master.
Oh, geez.
Imagine him as Puppet Master as Alicia's father.
Yeah. See, that's interesting because when I saw you talking about Galactus being cast, I didn't even focus at all on who it was that was being cast. My complete focus was on I don't want Galactus in this movie at all. It's too much for a first movie. And then it's funny. Then you bring up these characters, and we're back to a Batman movie is announced, and suddenly there are 5 villains in it. Like stop! It's way too much. But yeah, that seems quite a dichotomy between Galactus and potentially.
And Jay's right. There is a possibility that one of those people is gonna voice Herbie.
Yeah. Okay.
Paul Walter Hauser could easily voice Herbie. John Malkovich could voice Herbie.
Yeah, because he's right. He's got a distinctive voice or whatever.
Right. You would think they would probably go for more of a comedic. Well, I guess Hauser's a comedic actor in a lot of ways, but he's also played a serial killer in a show and got an award for it. So he can play serious. But I'm starting to wonder if what we're going to get isn't so much a single movie, but kind of a history of the Fantastic Four.
It had crossed my mind. It could be a montage sequence, showing them. But do you sort of waste those type of actors in a quick cameo, basically? I mean, I don't know.
But by doing that, you give the villains gravitas.
Yep. I get it. I get it. And that would to have Galactus be a cameo. I mean, it's like I don't want it to be a Galactus movie. That the second or third movie maybe, but not the first one. And then I don't know if you do like a quick overview of the Galactus trilogy.
Well, what if Galactus is your big villain? But what you're doing is you're kind of brushing through the earlier stuff. You get a narration, you get Pedro Pascal, or you get Herbie talking about the Fantastic Four. Here's the greatest superhero team you've never heard of.
Yeah.
In their first
adventure, get everybody up to speed, sure. If they're not going to necessarily, if it's not an origin movie, yeah.
Yeah, and maybe you get 5 minutes fighting the mole man and his giant monster, and you get
Mm,
that clip, that famous comic cover at one point.
right.
You know,
What's funny is it's this Ralph Ineson, right? He's kind of a mole man looking guy too,
yeah.
he's not like what I would think of as Galactus. Maybe like
It's for him. It's the voice.
okay, well, see, yeah, it's like John Hamm, as Galactus, with a nice chiseled jaw or something. But yeah, if it's going to be more of a voice type of thing,
Yeah, we're just going to see the
maybe
mouth.
Galactus doesn't even have a human looking part to his face in this. Maybe he's totally robotic looking, or something. Is it too silly to have like it's like a mask, that
Yeah,
Galactus has? Why would he have a mask? But
yeah. Well, you know
just
what they could
hey,
also
as long
do.
as they have the big G on his belt buckle, I'm absolutely fine.
Well, something they might do, and I've seen a few people talk about this, and it's kind of something I talked about a while back. I did a whole episode about it. What if Galactus isn't necessarily human looking? What if he is like a rogue sentinel, celestial?
I remember you saying that too. Personally, I think it would be really cool if he was like a big cloud.
No, you
you
don't.
know,
No, you
like
don't.
it kind of comes in and it looks like it has like the helmet thing a little bit kind of in the middle of it, and it's like a big sentient cloud thing.
How long are you going to run that out? Just yeah.
Because that was genius. Come on. That was
Oh, right. That
absolutely
was
genius.
genius. Ed pointed out that Paul Walter Hauser was on Cobra Kai and Reno 911, but he was also a serial killer in a movie recently, or a TV show recently, and won an Emmy for it.
Well, this Ralph Ineson was in Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 1
He
and
was in
2.
Game of Thrones. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, you know what? I'm looking at that, and it says he was. Oh, he's the same character in Half Blood Prince. I don't know that
I
Amethyst
know.
Carroll. I
He
don't know
hasn't
her.
been huge characters. Like I said, he was a Ravager in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, Ravager pilot or something like that.
Yeah,
Well,
but the
this
thing
is
is,
another weird. He
it's
was
his
in
voice.
he was in The Last Jedi, and it says his role expanded in deleted scenes. So Colonel Araziv Garnuth or something like that. I don't know who the hell he was in Last Jedi.
He played the Green Knight in the Green Knight movie recently.
Okay.
He's in The Witch. He was in The First Omen, but
Yeah.
he's also got a lot of video game credits where he plays the big bad in the video game.
Well,
So
okay.
he's totally got that voice.
Okay. Well, then that must be what it is. Then that they went after him for the voice.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
but yeah. So I'm just starting to wonder though what we're actually going to get.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
and they've got Matt Shackman doing this movie, who put together WandaVision,
Yeah.
and WandaVision kind of jumped and jumped and jumped era to era to era. So
Yep.
I could see them doing something similar through the big battles.
I think you had this theory when we were talking about the woman who was cast as the Silver Surfer. I think it was you who had said, well, maybe this whole thing begins in another universe.
Yeah.
This is the Fantastic Four of whatever universe. So that's why it's, Shalabal as Silver Surfer or whatever. And going up against Galactus, and they somehow get thrown into the real MCU.
Yeah. But
Know.
if you're doing Fantastic Four movies, how many are you really going to do? 3, 4? Can you get to all their villains? Do you have time for Mole Man, for Puppet Master?
No. You have to hit the heights,
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to get John Malkovich to play a big villain? Bringing him in, suddenly as the puppet master makes it really give gravitas to that character.
Mm-hmm.
But even though we're not going to see more of him,
Yeah.
you know,
The thing is thinking about like how many movies are they going to make now that they're slowing down again.
exactly.
It's going to be years in between
Yeah.
movies, and who knows if those actors want to hang around. Does Pedro Pascal want to be Reed Richards for the next 10 years, 12
Right.
years,
Right.
more than that?
So this
uh,
way you get to play the fan service by bringing in some of the villains that they
yeah,
want to see, but that aren't
yeah.
really. You can't do a whole movie with Puppet Master.
No, you can't. Doctor Doom, of course, yes. There's not a lot of Fantastic Four villains that Annihilus. I think that's a whole movie.
Uh-huh.
Negative Zone, Annihilus.
Doctor Doom, Doctor Doom, Annihilus, and Galactus would be the big three right there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I don't see a whole movie with Diablo.
Yeah.
Or I
Red
mean, Puppet
Ghost or
Master is
Mole Man.
interesting, but
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we get the Hate Monger. Not the Hate Monger. What was Sue Storm's name she took?
Malice.
Malice, that's it.
Mhm.
Ed, you do not talk too much. I want you to throw things in chat as much as possible. So feel free, and the rest of you, comment all you want. That's what it's there for.
Yeah.
You're as much part of the show as we are.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm just wondering if maybe that's how they're going to approach it, because they're bringing the FF in so late in the MCU. We don't know how many we're going to get. So maybe we get kind of a sampling of some of the villains that they've fought in the past. And they do bring it. I mean, the latest rumor I've been hearing is that Ben Affleck is up for Doctor Doom.
See, that goes back to that Ben Affleck as Batman thing. Then it's Ben Affleck as Doctor Doom. It's not just Doctor Doom, You know what? I'm starting to warm to this. I'm envisioning this now. You get the whole first part of the movie, and it's like a quick thing, whatever, of their history and who they are and everything, and then they go up against Galactus or something, and that throws them into the Marvel universe. They're in the 60s in their universe, and then we get sort of like the Brady Bunch movie, where the people from the 60s or 70s suddenly are in the present day. I can see the Fantastic Four are suddenly in 2025, and they had just left 1965.
Yeah, no, I can see that. By the way, I think you're wrong about Ben Affleck. Affleck is one of the few people that gets it when it comes to comic book movies. Hugo Weaving is another one.
And
there's
I like
actors that you go, you're going to play this part, and your face is going to be rarely seen.
Yeah.
And they're going to go, let's do it. And it's because Ben grew up a comic book fan. He grew up reading the comics. And if you are a comic book fan, then the mask is on Doom at all times. Maybe you show up in flashback scenes, but overall, the mask is on at all times. We won't get that, what they did with the Jessica Alba movie. You're going to get Doom in the mask.
Now that's an interesting question, because is when we finally get Doctor Doom, would he be from their universe and somehow get thrown with them, or is it that he's already in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Because I think you want that rivalry to stay.
I think so too. Yeah. So you have to come up with a way that, well, you know what? It's funny. When Galactus came to Earth, they did not, in the comics, they did not check in with Doctor Doom. You would almost think that Doom would have wanted to take some part in that little scuffle,
I think the other interesting thing is if you go to Ben Affleck and you tell him, look, you're going to have the mask on the whole time, he's going to go, you mean like Pedro Pascal in The Mandalorian, where I only have to show up and do ADR for most of the movie? And they'll go, yes. And you go, okay, let's do it.
Okay.
I'll film the few scenes that I have my mask off on. Otherwise, the flashbacks and stuff. Otherwise, let's do it. I'm there.
Here's a question for you. Does Doctor Doom have an accent?
That's the one thing people were saying, is that they want a Romani actor
Uh-huh.
to be cast as Doctor Doom. And I'm like, I don't even know of any Romani actors that are.
Yeah, I don't know if we
popular,
have to go that far, boy, ouch. Yeah, I don't know about that so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't either.
Yeah, because then you'd have to, the actor would be swarthy, dark, Yeah, that never occurred to me. Now, if they got like a Romanian actor, wherever Latveria is supposed to be,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's like near Hungary and Romania and the Slovak areas.
Yeah. So, but I think it would be interesting to cast Affleck.
When is this movie supposed to start filming? Do you know?
End of the summer, like in the next few months.
Okay.
Like in July, because it's supposed to out the following July.
Jeez. Okay.
So that's why we're hearing a lot of casting suddenly.
Yeah. So it's great. We're gonna be getting some of those on-set photos pretty soon, when they're filming on the streets in New York or Cleveland or whatever, and and then first look at Pedro Pascal's outfit costume.
Yeah. Oh, there was another interesting casting thing came out today. This is from Bleeding Cool, but Mark Strong, who played Sinestro in the Green Lantern movie, and the villain in the first Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movie.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Great actor. He's in the Kingsman movies. Yeah, great actor.
Yeah.
Supposedly he is going to be in the upcoming Penguin series on Max.
You know what? He would make a good Doctor Doom.
He would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Like a good presence,
Yep. But yeah, so he's supposed to be popping up in the and that news comes from his personal trainer.
Okay.
Because he said that somebody asked him on Instagram, what were you training Mark Strong for? He goes, oh, I just worked with him for his upcoming work on the Penguin.
Well, what do you think that means?
There's a few roles that would make sense for him to be in there.
Okay.
But, people are going, well, maybe he's going to be Carmine Infantino. It's like, no, he's not going to be
Carmine Infantino.
we already had, not Infantino, Carmine Falcone. Because
it was appropriate, actually. Carmine Infantino having a lot to do with Batman.
He would. I like Jay says, Mark Strong would make a good anyone.
Okay, I like that too.
Yeah. So I just thought that was very interesting. But people are saying that he's going to play Carmine Falcone. It's like, well, first they have a Carmine Falcone in that universe. Is John Turturro, and he died in the Batman. How can you have him in the Batman?
He's Zeppo Falcone, his brother.
Well, I know Falcone has kids, and one of his daughter is supposed to be in this. But I don't know if any of his sons, because at Long Halloween he's got 2 boys. He's got at least 1 boy, but the young boy is an idiot.
I'm afraid I'm not up on the crime families too much in Batman.
It's like you didn't work for DC all those years. I know.
Wait, one more Fantastic Four question before I forget it.
Okay.
Deadpool, Wolverine. In your opinion, do we get any sort of hint or anything Fantastic Four in that movie? I think maybe that would be a good place to drop a little something.
We might get reference to the previous Fantastic Four movies.
Yeah, that I can see, but it would sure be fun if it was, you know, a mid credit scene or a post credit scene or something. You know, they film just a little bit with Pedro or you know whoever, and you know.
We'll have to see. I think that's going to have a lot of cameos. I hear they went back to do some reshoots, but all of the reshoots were to kind of add more cameos. They loved the movie as it was, but they're like, we could put this in, we could add this, we could do this, you know.
Make it here before we know it. It's coming out in July.
Yep. Okay, let's get to the other topic. Yes, the reveal of the Superman suit. Do I need to put it on the screen? I should probably put it on the screen.
Go ahead, throw it up. No gang signs. No, go ahead and throw them up there.
Nice little Iron Man reference.
My God, you're a woman.
Honey, you got these going good now, don't you?
Let me think. If I can think of any other ones, I can't right at the moment.
Okay.
Dan, it should be all over the internet. You should have no trouble finding it. There we go.
Yeah. I was just trying to get the sharing screen thing. Okay.
Number one, this is metaphorical. It's not meant to be taken literally.
Yep. I did a whole episode on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it was called "Why We Can't Have Nice Things." It wasn't picking apart the suit. It was picking apart the reaction to the suit.
Well, good.
Because that's what I saw. It was just so insane.
Yeah.
People were like, oh my God, I hate the high collar. Oh, geez, they're bringing back the trunks. I hate the trunks. Oh my God, they've got the trunks back. This is the greatest suit ever. This is a bad cosplay costume.
That's the one that I heard. It's like a cosplay. And I felt like saying, have you seen cosplay costumes these days? They're just as good as anything that are, in the, I agree that it's an odd choice to do the reveal, but I actually champion their choice, because why just do the same thing over and over and over again when you can immediately show people kind of like the tone of this movie, or
exactly.
that the man is going to be as important as the super. And I think it could be a good possibility that we get. Well, you've said this before, I think too, that this is one outfit in the movie, and he might have the more traditional, one.
And there's a huge thing that everybody seems to be skipping. They're so focused on the gathers on the suit and the little lines and him putting his boots on and the melancholy look, that they're like ignoring the giant frickin' ball of doom behind him.
Well, the people who have noticed that's where they went kind of, fell all apart, was like, why is he taking his time to put his boots on when there's that thing? And it's like, well, number one, you don't know that that's a bad thing necessarily, and I don't think it was meant to be taken literally anyways.
Yeah. And this was shot in camera. So the ball's the special effect, but everything else was shot, Yeah. But there is a thing online, which I appreciated. Someone thinks that the ball is Solaris. Solaris is the tyrant planet created by Grant Morrison first in the DC 1 Million series and then brought back in All Star Superman
Okay.
by Grant Morrison again.
Uh-huh.
Now, thinking of it that way and looking at this photo, Lex Luthor makes a deal with Solaris, the tyrant planet, to come to Earth and turn the sun blue, taking away Superman's powers. Superman ends up depowered, but borrowing a Green Lantern ring and using the power of Green Lantern to battle and defeat Solaris and Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Now, with that in mind, and the fact that this movie has a Green Lantern in it, now take a look at this and look at the totally battle damaged costume. The reluctant, not the reluctance, but the weariness that he's putting the suit back on.
Yep.
Could this be a depowered Superman?
Yep.
Putting on his suit to go back into battle, even though he does not have his powers.
I like it. Yeah, that all fits. The blue sky, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And James Gunn has held up All-Star Superman as one of the big influences for his story.
Yeah. Well, they used the image from it when they did those reveals of what all the movies and TV shows and everything were.
Right.
Yeah, no, I think that's really onto something, I get it about the collar, but you know what? All the other elements are there, It's big red boots and the blue is not so bad, the red and yellow emblem that looks like trunks and the belt, and he's actually got what looks like a spit curl, or his hair's out. Maybe it's just out of whack a little bit there, Yeah, I'm good with it. I remember when I first looked at it and I said, "Oh, that's kind of an odd choice," but the more I thought about it, it's like, no, like I said, why do that same thing all the time? I can remember when Brandon Roush, that was revealed, it was a typical, hands on, fists on hips and kind of standing there legs akimbo and all of that. And, it was just Christopher Reeve all over again,
Yeah, we got that from Christopher Reeve. We got that from Brandon Routh. And you guys remember all the hatred that Brandon Routh got. The trunks were too small. They were more Speedo than trunks.
Yep.
The S was too small. The red was too dark. The blue was too dark. And then Henry Cavill came out and we saw him standing in front of a crushed vault door.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my God, where are the trunks? The suit's too dark. The red's too dark. He doesn't have the spit curl. Oh, it's like all they want to do is complain. And then they run out and start complaining. And the fact is that you're reading from a still photo. And do I know if Solaris is the bad guy? Do I know that's the scenario? No, but it's a possible scenario. And, the whole idea of beyond a reasonable doubt, you don't know what's happening. We don't know what's happening in this picture. So to say that this doesn't work, that doesn't work. You don't like the new S? Fine. Say you don't like the new S. You don't like the collar? Okay. I do. But then I liked Jim Lee's redesign for the new 52.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the trunks. I would like him not to have the trunks, but okay.
We'll have to differ on that one.
But that's my point, is you can differ on it.
Yeah, sure.
Does that mean you should throw a hatred out on the internet about it?
I think my only real, I don't even know if I want to call it a criticism, is he doesn't look terribly built, and part of it is because he's sitting down, so it's kind of bunching things up a little bit, that I don't know. Again, maybe they're doing something where when he's depowered, he doesn't look as muscular, you know,
Mhm.
you know. But then again, it's interesting. Christopher Reeve, although they built him up for the movie, he was not, like a Hulk or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Mhm.
Superman's strength doesn't come from because he has all developed muscles. It comes because he's from Krypton. But no, I'm pretty good with all of this, and that's very interesting. All of what you just said about All-Star Superman.
Mhm. But also, David Cornsweet has been working out. There's photos of him at the gym where
Mhm.
he looks absolutely just buff,
Yeah,
like
good.
more than Henry Cavill. He's also the tallest Superman we've ever had.
Oh, is that right?
He's 6'6".
He's 6'6".
Yeah.
Wow. Christopher Reeve was pretty damn tall. I know
Christopher
that,
Reeve
but
was like 6'2", 6'3".
wow, 6'6".
Henry Cavill's only 6'2".
Wow.
By the way, I can say only 6'2" because
Uh-huh.
I'm 6'6", but
Oh,
so yeah, this is a very big man,
okay.
and
I wonder
again,
how
he's
tall
hitting.
Lois Lane is.
Oh yeah, that's going to be hilarious. Actually, the two of them. Um,
Do you think they're going to be married in this?
I don't know. I don't know. I know we're not getting the origin story. We're getting a
Yeah.
little further along, but we're
Yeah.
not getting so far in the future. So I
Okay.
I'd like to. Well, see, I'm kind of different because everybody holds up the Christopher Reeves Superman as the quintessential Superman. To me, I liked Christopher Reeves as Superman.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the Clark Kent parts were too campy. They made me uncomfortable.
Okay.
All right. And that's, I'm,
Yeah.
I'm that way. I don't like sitcoms either.
Okay.
So there was some great stuff with him as Superman. I'm
Mm,
not a big fan of him as Clark.
okay.
Brandon Routh did the same thing. Bryan Singer's movie was a love letter to Richard Donner.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's a sequel. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
for the most
To
part. Yeah.
the point that it was another real estate scam. That's all Lex Luthor has done in the movies is real estate scams. So, but here, with Henry Cavill, they got rid of most of the Clark Kent stuff, which
Uh-huh.
I was okay with. I didn't mind that at all because that was always been the awkward part of the character,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like when Arrowverse always threw away the secret identities, and I know some people hate that,
Mm-hmm.
but I like it because that's always the silly, awkward stuff. Oh, I was underneath the rubble and had to be dug out. Superman saved me. I mean,
Dan,
the character has to
you just don't know how to have fun. That's all.
the character has to pretty much emasculate himself just to keep his identity. But then who cares?
Yeah, I care.
So,
Hey,
but
in All-Star Superman, doesn't Lois become super?
yeah, I don't know if they're going to go that route.
Okay. That would be pretty damn interesting.
It would, but I think with the fact that this is Superman's first movie, and it's All Star Superman, Superman also dies. So,
Mm, yeah,
and,
let's not
and
do
it's
that
replaced
all.
by a
Let's
clone.
not do that all over again.
Yeah.
Please.
So I think that they may just be pulling the villain idea from
Mhm.
there,
Okay.
but we'll
Is
see.
there like the other DC heroes in All-Star Superman?
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a Green Lantern in it for him to get the ring from.
Oh, okay, right. Because I almost was thinking that in some ways they might also be borrowing a little bit from the Doomsday story, because that had the Justice League as sort of secondary players in it. At
Yeah,
least that aspect of it, not necessarily Doomsday. And so.
it's been a long time since I read All Star Superman,
Mm,
but there was also like Gilgamesh and other. It was a really weird story.
mm. Well, Grant Morrison, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm not the biggest Grant Morrison fan.
I'm a pretty big Grant Morrison superhero fan, and not really much of anything else, but I do like his superhero stuff. His Batman was my favorite Batman of the past, whatever, however many. Now it's been like 15 years ago or whatever, but I really miss his take on Batman.
Mhm. Ed says the dumbest thing about Superman was the glasses. There's no one on Earth I wouldn't recognize because of a pair of glasses.
That's
Um,
called the suspension of disbelief.
Also, I don't know if I agree with you, Ed. When Superman was coming out,
Mhm.
Henry Cavill put on a Superman T-shirt and a jacket so you could see the S. He didn't have the glasses on. He had his hair normal, and he walked through Times Square for about an hour.
Hmm.
Nobody recognized him.
Hmm.
Okay. This was the guy who was postered. There were ads for Superman with his face on it in Times Square when he was doing this. There's
Yeah.
pictures of him standing under the ad. Nobody talking to him.
You know what? I'll tell you something. John Byrne did a very interesting thing. When John Byrne came in and rebooted Superman and got rid of a lot of different things, one of the things that he pointed out was that nobody should know that Superman has a secret identity.
Right.
They just assume that he's Superman all the time. Therefore, when you have Clark, nobody thinks of that. Like,
Yeah.
Superman is walking around in disguise among us. Well, no, like he wouldn't even say that to anybody. No one should ever have known that. So that
Yeah.
would be kind of the same thing with Cavill. Is no one would really ever think of him doing that. So if somebody even thought a little bit, they might have said, "Oh, that guy kind of looks like that one actor."
Yeah.
They're not going to think like, "Well, Henry Cavill's not going to be walking around Times Square."
Yeah.
It's
And
that
like
same
I said, it
idea.
makes sense because like you said, I mean, with Batman, people know he's got a secret identity
Yeah, he
because he
wears a
wears a
mask.
mask to hide it. But with Superman, he's got his face like right out there,
Yeah.
and he's an alien. And there's talk of the Fortress of Solitude,
Mm.
so he's not living locally. He doesn't have a job. Why would Superman have a job?
Right. Yeah. Why would he do that? So you would just dismiss that idea altogether. Yeah. You would
Yeah.
never expect that he'd be doing something like that.
And with how screwed up the world is, would he have time to do his job?
Well, he
Wouldn't
is,
he be flying around constantly?
and he is the fastest typer I have ever seen in my how many years in the business.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the
Yes.
fact that you've got an investigative reporter
Hmm.
sitting next to him for all those years going, oh, nope, the Clark's just a klutz.
He doesn't have to be like klutzy. Like, Christopher Reeve took it to the extreme. And it's funny because John Byrne pulled back from that and went more with the George Reeves idea, where there's not that much difference between Clark and Superman. you
Yeah.
know
This looks like a job for Superman.
yeah. Yeah, now we're going all the way back to the radio show.
But that's the point is that, yeah, Lois should have figured it out
Yeah.
because she's the one that points out, Clark, every time Superman's here, you're gone.
Yeah.
But the average person shouldn't be looking at him going, I wonder if that guy's Superman.
Yeah, like I said, if they think about it at all, they might go, he kind of reminds me of Superman, but without glasses. But they're not going to sit and think about it because they just go, no, that's stupid. Why would Superman be disguised as one of us walking around? There'd be no reason for it.
There's a cartoon somewhere that has Batman sitting in the cave talking to Alfred and doodling on a newspaper. And it's a picture of Superman, and he doodles glasses on him, and he goes, son of a...
Yeah.
See, now that's awesome. But
Yeah.
Yeah. So I liked the costume reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm going to hold any negative thoughts about it, which I don't actually have that many, if any,
Mm-hmm.
about it until I see it in motion.
Yeah.
Because again, he's leaning forward, so of course the suit's going to gather.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, this was in photo or in shot image. Everything
Mm-hmm.
was shot in image, so it wasn't like they went in and cleaned it up with computers and stuff.
Yeah, right.
I want to see it in motion. I don't want to, I get James Gunn has said this movie is going to be about Clark merging his Kansas upbringing and his Kryptonian heritage together.
Mm-hmm.
It's nature and nurture trying to merge them into one.
Mm-hmm.
And with him losing the powers would make a lot of sense for that story,
Mm-hmm.
because if he has no powers, he puts his suit back on to head out to fight again.
Yeah.
With no powers, that's the Kansas farm boy.
Yep. Yep.
That's the person raised by Ma and Pa Kent.
Yep.
That there is a battle that he needs to be part of. He's not going to give up. And that is the humanity of him.
They'll just have to be careful not to comparisons drawn to Superman 2. That's a big part of that movie. But that's where he purposefully gives up his powers for Lois, and then gets them back. That whole thing doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I know, but
yeah. By the way, who do you think James Gunn would get to voice the Tyrant Planet or the Tyrant Sun?
The same guy who's going to be Galactus.
I was thinking Michael Rooker.
Yeah. No, it's going to be Sean Gunn. Haven't you heard?
Sean Gunn's got a role. He's going to be Maxwell Lord. But we haven't heard what Rooker's going to do yet. And I just picture him having that same Yondu voice.
Do you know he's going to be in it?
Who?
Rooker.
He's in every
James
Gunn movie.
Well, you know what? There's a part that's just made for him. Is Guy Gardner.
Nathan Fillion is being Guy Gardner.
I know, but can you imagine Rooker being Guy Gardner?
Nathan Fillion is in all of James Gunn's movies too.
I know. Well, I've always said that if Nathan Fillion was younger, he would have been a perfect Hal Jordan.
Michael Rooker as Steve
Trevor?
Lombard.
Steve Lombard. Or Morgan Edge.
Morgan Edge, okay. Or Bibbo?
Bibbo, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, that's pretty good. He could be Bibbo. Bibbo.
Yeah, you can see him as Bibbo. It could just be a cameo of him, at the bar when we see bad news for Superman, and he just kind of dusts off the picture of him standing with Superman.
Yeah.
To my pal Bibbo.
Yeah. No, they got to have a scene where somebody's like in the bar or like like putting down Superman or making fun of him, and the Bibbo just punches him over the bar. Yeah. Wow, that's a good idea. Wow. Okay.
The other person he could play is what's his name? Basically the cop in Metropolis that was designed to look like Jack Kirby.
Oh, that's Dan Turpin. Terrible Turpin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a kind of a good one too. Yeah. That's not bad. That's pretty funny.
Kevin Bacon. It says Kevin Bacon. Yeah.
Toy Man. He could be the Toy Man.
There's a handful of actors that James Gunn always puts in his movies. Michael Rooker, Nathan Fillion,
Sean
his brother.
Yeah.
So they will appear somewhere. I mean, Yondu got a cameo in Guardians 3 just so he could keep that story going.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's kind of like Sam Raimi always puts his car in every movie.
Right.
It shows up in Spider-Man. It's Uncle Ben's car. It's Ash's car in Army of Darkness. And
It's hanging in air in Multiverse
yeah.
of Madness.
Yep. So
I think we should very quickly mention the passing of Roger Corman.
yeah, actually, we have two passings to mention. Roger Corman, who was an absolute legend in the film industry, 98 years old, discovered Robert De Niro, Martin Scorsese, Jack Nicholson, basically created the straight-to-video market with his B movies and stuff, was the first one to give Ron Howard a directing job.
Wow.
I mean, it's just, you go down the list of the movies he made: Machine Gun Kelly, The Mask of the Red Death, The Fall of the House of Ushers, Little Shop of Horror, which is where Jack Nicholson got his start. You know, just a phenomenal director and producer. Of course, he did the infamous Fantastic Four movie in the 1994.
Yes, he did.
To hang on to the rights to the thing. He came back and directed one movie in the 90s called Frankenstein Unleashed.
Yeah, I know people who love that movie. They say it's their favorite Frankenstein movie.
Yeah. So, yeah, Corman was absolutely brilliant and just an absolute sweetheart, from what everybody that have met him has said. He made over 200 movies in Hollywood, and never once did he lose money on a film. You know, Ron Howard said that he complained on the first movie and said, you know, why do we have such cheap sets, and why can't we afford more extras for the crowd scenes? And Roger told him, he says, well, with any luck, son, after this movie, you'll never have to work for me again. So basically saying he'll never have to make a low budget film again.
Yeah.
That's the one person who passed away. The other one is, let me remember her name. Susan. I got it right here.
I'm not sure. I know.
Susan Backlini. Susan Backlini was an actress and stunt woman who filmed the opening scene for Jaws in 1975. She's the skinny dipper who gets eaten in the beginning of the movie. She later on redid that scene with Spielberg in his film 1941, kind of a parody of it.
Wow. I think I saw 1941 once. Yeah, the big flop of Spielberg's career.
I remember seeing it and thinking it was actually kind of funny, but I was young. She went on, like I said, to do stunt woman work, did movies and TV. She was in The Great Muppet Caper, a movie called Day of the Animals, and she was even a stunt person on, perfect timing on this, sadly, The Fall Guy.
The original Fall Guy.
Yeah, the Fall Guy TV series.
The Lee Majors Fall Guy, right?
Yep. So, yeah, she passed away at 77. Let me check.
Speaking real quick about Ron Howard, I discovered something. I was watching American Graffiti yesterday. It was on TCM. Haven't seen it in ages. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. There's a scene where Mackenzie Phillips is like 12 and riding around in the car with the older guy, whatever, and she keeps taking the shift, the top to the shift lever thing, and it suddenly hit me that Jon Favreau's tribute to George Lucas in The Mandalorian is Grogu taking the top off the shift lever or whatever. Yes. And it was like, oh my God, why? Like I didn't know this, and suddenly there it is, and realizing that.
Yeah, there's a lot of great trivia around American Graffiti, like the fact that George Lucas has a rule that unless it's a sequel, he doesn't want to use the same actor in different movies, and of course, the guy that got him to break that was in American Graffiti,
Right.
Harrison Ford,
Harrison Ford, right.
where
Yeah.
there was no way in hell he was going to hire him to be Han Solo. Then he hired him to be Han Solo when nobody else really got the role right. And there was no way he was going to hire him to be Indiana Jones. But when CBS wouldn't let Tom Selleck out of this contract, he became Indiana Jones.
He's Bob Felfa in American Graffiti.
Yes, he is.
American Graffiti is really a very fine film. It really is, very fun. And surprisingly, Wolfman Jack is not a bad was not a bad actor.
No. By the way, Ed points out that Bernard Hill passed away this week.
Oh, okay.
He was the actor who played the king of the Rohan in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yes. Okay. All right. I get yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Theoden. King
Also,
Theoden.
this may be more of an LA thing, but a entertainment reporter named Sam Rubin passed away. And Sam did the coverage for the Oscars. He'd been in the film industry as a film industry reporter for over 35 years at the same station, which is unheard of. But when he passed, it was a surprise. He had a heart attack. He had worked the day before, went home, called in sick the next day, and died that afternoon. He was 64. But if you go online and look like on social media, the people paying tribute to him is astounding. It's Ryan Reynolds. It's Tom Hanks. Wow. It's all of these people that he would interview that were so appreciative of the fact that whenever, they do these long interview days, but when they got to Sam, he was always energetic, always had great questions, different questions, and was always super nice and cared about them and stuff. And so many actors came out and said, how, that they actually considered him a friend, that they'd run into him elsewhere and just enjoy chatting with him and stuff.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's been a big loss this week. Bernard Hill played King Theoden.
Yep.
So, yep. Also, I know there was one more and I'm slipping, but it was somebody in the comic industry. I'll have to think about that one. Okay. But anyway.
Nothing's coming to mind.
But so, yep. So, don't put hatred out there about the Superman costume. Wait to see what the movie's going to be. Wait till a trailer at least. Because that was the theme that I did, was why we can't have nice things. And it's not because James Gunn went out and cast a new Superman or put a new costume, or it isn't exactly what we want. Yeah. It's got this or that. It's because we, as comic fans, want these movies to work, right?
Sure.
We want them to be successful. Even if we don't particularly like them, having them work, having them be successful leads to more movies.
Right.
And if they bomb, then that's not going to happen. So many of these movies, they get to social media, they get to streaming services, and people are like, what's wrong with this movie? Why did everybody hate it? I like it.
Right.
Well, the thing is that all that negativity makes it people not go see the movie because, I've got someone here who's a good example. Well, I don't want to see that. Well, why? Because I hear it's horrible. Why do you hear it's horrible? Well, I see headlines and stuff on the internet. Well, do you read the articles? Well, I clicked long enough to see what movie they're talking about.
No. Always.
Everybody hated the musical scene in the Marvels. The musical scene is 3 minutes.
Yeah.
3 minutes. There's some really good stuff in the Marvels. Ant-Man and the Wasp. There's some really good stuff in Ant-Man and the Wasp. But people didn't go see it because there was such negativity went out there even before some of these movies came out. and you end up not seeing. It's not like, let's wait and see, and then you go to the theater, you don't like it, or you see the trailer, it's like, that's not for me. But the fact is that people say it's not for me, and then they go out and scream why it sucks.
Yes.
And basically they put that negativity out there so other people go, oh, I hear everybody says it sucks, so I'm not going to go see it.
Yep.
So just because it's not for you doesn't mean it's not for other people. So why ruin their parade? Why,
Because it makes you feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe
Warhol said we all get 15 minutes of fame. The internet is giving people who don't deserve their 15 minutes a lot more fame than they deserve. And maybe I'm one of them. Maybe I shouldn't be weekly doing these podcasts or whatever. Maybe I don't know anything more than anybody else, but I try to be positive and I try to make it clear what I don't like about something, what I do like about something. I try to point out the good, because if it's my opinion on something, then that's it. It's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to come out and say, oh my God, this movie. There is a movie that I absolutely hate, that I have been just so vitriolic about.
Mm-hmm.
And I will continue to be, because it's that bad. But I make it clear it's because I'm an Agatha Christie fan.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie strays so far from everything Agatha Christie created.
Yeah.
That it's not worth your time if you're an Agatha Christie fan. But in saying so, I tell people, check it out for yourself.
Yep.
By the way, that's the ABC Murders with John Malkovich on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. That's like me and Princess Bride. I'm a fan of good movies. And that's not a good movie.
Jim's opinions do not are his own and do not represent that of the podcast or of me.
Yes. And Dan, you are very, very positive. You're a positive force on the internet, and that's why you will never be popular.
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely do the whole negative review, negative commentary stuff.
Absolutely. You'd be one of the most popular guys around.
I love superhero movies. I want to enjoy them.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't like one, I come out and I just say, Andrew,
you only say that because you know it's true.
Jim, I don't mean this wrong, but I think you're alone in this one. I think you're very alone on this one.
My own son loves that movie, and I,
my entire family loves that movie.
My
brother doesn't like anything, and he likes that movie.
That's okay. I like the 1967 Casino Royale, and nobody else does in the world. I know what that feeling is like. Yes.
I don't hate it, the 1967 movie, but I don't enjoy it either.
Oh, I enjoy it so much. It's not funny. It's wonderful.
Yeah. So yeah, let's start a hashtag of stop the hate against Marvel films, or stop the hate against movies, or
everything. Everything. Hashtag don't hate everything.
This is your assignment for next week. Come up with a quick, catchy hashtag that we can start using about stop the negativity or stop the hate.
I love it.
If you guys can come up with one. Jay, this is on you. Andrew, Ed, let's see what you guys come up with, and we'll start using it.
I love it.
A good one.
I love it.
Ed says you're not liking Princess Bride is inconceivable.
Oh, God. All right, let's end this thing before they start breaking out into Princess Bride quotes. Ugh.
Oh, it'll happen.
I know. Just don't do the one about you killed my brother or whatever the hell that is. Please.
My name is Inigo Montoya. You have killed my father. Prepare to die.
It's been done.
Do you know somebody has it as a license plate? The first letter of each word.
I'm sure they do.
Hello, My name is Inigo Montoya.
Oh,
I have killed my father. Prepare to die.
oh, uh,
Okay, that's good, but I think we want to focus on the movies because, well, I don't know,
mm,
but close. I think we're close there.
yeah,
So,
you're on the right track.
all right, guys, thank you for tuning in. Uh, I enjoyed this tonight. I enjoyed the chat. I enjoyed your guys' comments, and I was absolutely exhausted sitting down here because this, I got up, worked, baked scones for my mother for Mother's Day,
Yeah.
then cooked the dinner, and just was exhausted. So I kind of feel a little re-energized enough
Yep.
that I'll make it to my bed to pass out and watch Last Chef Standing tonight. So
It's not easy being so positive.
yeah,
Yeah.
and,
It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it.
as you wish. See, that's the fun thing is that Jim doesn't even know what half the quotes are anymore, or half the quotes are.
So I'm just assuming that, yeah.
We'll send some RUSs to his house.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a good one. There's a shortage of perfect breasts in the world, and it would be a shame to damage yours.
Okay. Well, I will see you next Sunday.
To the pain.
Watch Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
And and go into it with an open mind, right?
I will try to watch it this week. I got to finish Dead Boy Detective, so Kyle and I can, well, pretty much Kyle can talk about it on Thursday. Because whenever I do a show with Kyle, he just talks through the whole thing, and I just go,
Okay.
So I could use a nap. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you all. It's been fun. We will see you this week. Remember to call your mothers if you didn't.